When you hear Marco Polo, what comes to mind? A swimming pool game? An explorer wandering aimlessly through uncharted deserts to bring noodles back to Italy? By the way, that noodle origin story is a common myth and is information from outside our sources, but you get the idea. The truth is, when the Venetian merchant Marco Polo travelled to the east in the 13th century, he didn't step into a savage, chaotic wasteland. He walked into the Mongol Empire at its absolute peak. Thanks to the Pax Mongolica, a period of unprecedented stability, the Mongol conquests had unified the Central Eurasian landmass, essentially kicking off the onset of global history. Today we're going to keep it real and look at Marco Polo's actual experience with the Mongols, the ultimate 5IP pass. So, how did a Venetian merchant survive the perilous overland route from the Middle East to China? He had the ultimate VIP pass. Marco Polo travelled under the direct sponsorship of Kublai Khan, the emperor of the Mongol Yuan dynasty. The Khan gave Marco's party a tablet of gold. This wasn't just a shiny souvenir. It was an imperial passport, inscribed with a command that they be supplied with absolutely everything they needed: horses, escorts, and provisions in all the countries they passed through. This golden tablet gave Marco access to the Yam system, an ingenious military-grade pony express. At intervals of 20 to 30 miles, the Mongols maintained large, handsome relay stations. Marco recorded that this massive network utilised over 10,000 buildings featuring fine beds and kept more than 300,000 horses ready for riders. The Mongol military guarded these routes, providing the security that made this massive cross-continental road trip possible. Cambaluc, the ancient global hub. When Marco finally reached Cambaluc, the winter capital of the Yuan dynasty, located at the site of modern-day Beijing, he was probably expecting to be the only European in town. But plot twist, the Mongol Empire was incredibly cosmopolitan. Marco discovered that numerous European merchants had already beaten him there. The vast suburbs of the capital were packed with foreign travellers and traders. It was such an international hub that the city provided completely separate inns for different nationalities. There was one for the Lombards, another for the Germans, and a third for the Frenchmen. In fact, Mongol elites actually formed lucrative trade partnerships, known as autok, with merchants from Italian cities, and this included the Polo family itself. Economic shock, paper money. While the international crowd was impressive, one Mongol innovation absolutely blew Marco Polo's mind: paper money. Under Kublai Khan, the empire massively expanded the use of a paper currency called the Zhongtong Chao. Coming from Europe, where gold and silver coins were the only real money, Marco was stunned. The paper was ostensibly backed by silver, and Marco observed that nobody, however important he may think himself, dare to refuse it on pain of death. To protect the value of this paper money, the Mongols enforced strict exchange controls. Marco noted that foreign merchants bringing gold, silver, or gems were prohibited from selling them to anyone except the emperor. Wrestling princesses and wild myths. Marco Polo didn't just observe the economy, he recorded the fascinating and sometimes brutal culture of the Mongols. For instance, he wrote about the incredible independence of Mongol women. He famously documented the life of Ayaruk, the daughter of the Central Asian ruler Kedu. She was a beautiful, powerful warrior and an incredibly skilled archer and wrestler. According to Marco, she vowed never to marry unless a man could defeat her in a wrestling match, and none ever did. He also recorded local legends, some of which were pretty dark. For example, he wrote about the mystery of Genghis Khan's burial place, noting that even the Mongols themselves didn't know its exact location. Marco recounted a gruesome myth that the 2,000 slaves who attended Genghis Khan's funeral were killed by soldiers to keep the tomb's location a secret, and that those soldiers then committed suicide. While modern historians note this myth doesn't actually appear in contemporaneous Mongol sources, it shows just how terrifying and legendary the Khan had become by the time Marco arrived. Marco Polo's journey wasn't just a rugged adventure. It was a tour through a highly organised, economically brilliant, and technologically advanced superpower. The Mongols didn't just conquer the world, they connected it. If you enjoyed this real look at Marco Polo and the Mongols, smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below on which historical traveller we should cover next. See you next time.